Hey guys, it's Whiskey River here, and welcome back to Path of Titans. In this video, I want to discuss the biggest problems with the updates and the TLCs that have been dropping by Path of Titans. In recent months, we've seen the updates to the Staraka, the Alberta, the Barsboldia, the Concavenator, and then most recently, the Spinosaurus. And it is bringing a lot of really cool abilities and new move sets and versatility with the dinosaurs and being able to build them out to do different things. And that's all awesome. And I am enjoying it and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I think it's all great additions to the game. But I really feel like they're ignoring some of the most important issues that they could change in this game that would drastically improve it. And it's just stuff to do with the fundamentals and some quality of life changes that they could make that I don't understand why they don't address it through all these updates and TLCs. And it's like the basic, simple little changes that I'm talking about. Not even all this elaborate changes that they're doing to the dinosaurs. And even though they are simple changes, they would actually drastically improve the game. So here's what I'm talking about. For example, the first thing is the HUD. The HUD it takes up a large portion of the screen. When you look at like the buffs and the debuffs that come across the screen, in addition to all the abilities that you have, and the health bar and the stamina and the food and the water, that's a big chunk of the screen right there. And I know most of the time we're not really looking in that spot, but there's key moments in the game when you really need that space. Like, for example, when you're crossing a river, you need to look in that spot to see what's underneath there that might be ready to ambush you. And that covers it up most of the time. And you can miss a Dino or a Sarco that's getting ready to ambush you. And it doesn't need to be that big. We don't need that large of a space, in my opinion, to see our abilities and our buffs and our debuffs. I personally would take that and fit all that in the space right around the mini map above where it says Grand Plains, and there's a bar there that says 0% in the top right of the screen. You can see right now. I would make the health bar that big, and I'd put the food and the water right underneath the mini map, and you'd have your health and your stamina there, the mini map, the food and the water, and that's it. And then give us the ability to move that mini map to the bottom right, bottom left, upper left, whatever we want. Most games do that. Every other game I play, every other PvP game, role-playing game, multiplayer online game, give us the ability to change the HUD around. We can make it bigger, smaller. You can change where you want the mini map. I mean, all the Call of Duty and the Battlefield games, most of them do that. So I don't know why Alderaan can't do that with Path of Titans. It would be a simple, easy quality of life fix that I think would really, really improve this game a lot. So give us the ability to manipulate the HUD, make it bigger, smaller, or just make it smaller. Make the abilities and that kind of stuff smaller. That would really help. Now, I know we do have the ability to completely turn the HUD off, but the problem is it turns everything off, and then you have nothing. It's like either all cluttered and messy or nothing at all. Like, neither of those two options are great. Nothing at all is okay sometimes for like cinematics and, really getting immersed and stuff like that, but overall it just needs to be smaller. I want to be able to adjust it, make it much, much smaller so it takes up less of the screen. The next thing is the meshing in this game. The meshing, you see when you run up and bite a dinosaur, when two dinosaurs are fighting, the models of the dinosaur phase into each other. It's a really weird look, and you can see those two Rexes right there. You see how their tails are like phasing through each other? Even on a lot of the community servers even make it a rule against that because it looks so bad and unrealistic. And people will exploit it by sticking half their body into a rock. And, it looks horrible. And I don't know of any other melee-based game, whether it's For Honor or Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, there's a lot of them out there that have melee type combat, and none of them have this meshing issue where the models mesh through each other when they're fighting. The combat actually looks real. When you bite something or slash something with a sword, it actually looks like you're biting it or slashing it with a sword. You don't get this weird meshing going on. I don't know why they can't fix that. It's been so long since this game has been out. What, since 2022, I think? I can't believe that that's not something that they can fix. I don't understand that. But that would improve this game so much if they could address that. Another thing is the questing. They really should have realistic quests. I mean, a carnivore, a T-Rex, a Ceratosaurus is not going to be collecting flowers. It's just silly. I don't know why that has to be the quest. Now, I hear that they are going to be changing that and updating that, so I'm really excited about that. And I hope they do. I hope it's more realistic stuff like, hunt a Lambeosaurus or hunt this particular, dinosaur. And maybe they put AI dinosaurs in the game to help players find that particular dinosaur. Or if it's a herbivore, migrate from this point to this point to this point. Or, get nesting items and take it to your nest. Or, things that dinosaurs would actually be doing. Find water or whatever, Make the quests relevant to dinosaur lifestyles. I think that would really, really improve the game. The next thing is the ocean. The Gondua map is actually bigger than the Panjura map, but you would never know it because most of it is ocean. And nobody ever goes in the ocean in this game. It's a total wasteland out there. And there's no reason to go to the ocean. The questing is horrible in the ocean. The quests are all spread out. You can travel through the ocean and you'll have a certain quest and you never find that particular resource the entire time you're traveling through that whole POI. And then as soon as you travel into the next POI, all of a sudden you'll get a new quest and that old quest goes away, and now all of a sudden you start seeing all the resources that you needed in the previous POI you were in. And that happens all the time in the ocean. The questing is terrible. Nobody ever has a reason to go to the ocean. They really need to give people incentives to go to the ocean more. They need to fix the questing there, put a lot more resources out in the ocean so that it's way easier to quest. I mean, that would be one thing they could do. They could make the quests in the ocean very easy and highly rewarding. That would encourage people to go to the ocean. There's many other things they could do too. They could, team up with the Subnautica people or find people that know how the Subnautica game was built and implement a bunch of that stuff into the ocean in this game. The ocean is so vast and huge and it takes up most of the map, and there's no reason to ever go out there. It's got so much potential. They could do so much with the ocean in this game, and I don't know why they don't do it. They really need to fix the ocean, fix the quests, give us reasons to go out there, and I think that would be a huge improvement. Another area of the map that really disappoints me, but for the opposite reason, is Sharptooth Marsh. Sharptooth Marsh is a beautiful area that nobody ever plays in. And it's really, really a shame because it is awesome. It's amazing. The sounds, the sights, everything you get here is just beautiful. And it's an underutilized part of the map. I'll stop talking here for a few minutes and just let you guys soak this in and listen and see what I'm talking about. I mean, it's just beautiful, and I really wish I could have more interactions here and be able to post more videos with footage from Sharptooth Marsh. They could really make some adjustments to the map to encourage people to have to travel through that marsh if they want to go from the north to the south or the south to the north of the map. Make it where it's not as easy just to go around the marsh. They started on this a little bit by taking the bridge away between Desolate Pass and Crater. That helped because now people do at least have to cross through the river if they want to go that way. But they can still just go to the little thin, section of the river there and cross, and they never really have to go through the marsh. So I think they should do something to block that area off on either side and make it to where people have to actually go through the marsh to get across. I think that would be a huge improvement. And if they could do some stuff to encourage people to travel in the oceans more, make the questing much more lucrative in the ocean, give people incentives to go into the ocean more. They could look at take a chapter out of the Subnautica game and do some stuff like Subnautica did with their oceans. Put some cool sea monsters under there. Put some things out there that make people want to go out there and get some rewards or collect some stuff, anything to encourage people to go to the oceans more and take advantage of that vast space and area of this map that nobody ever goes to. I think that would really, really improve this game a lot if they could do something like that. And then another thing they could do with the map is give us the ability to put down waypoints that our group could see. That would be a huge quality of life improvement if we could just put waypoints, because we could say, hey, let's meet up at this point, and you put a point on the map that everybody in the group could see. Or if you want to do a migration in a herd, you could say, hey, here's our migration path, and actually plot the path out on the map so everybody could see it. That would be a simple little addition, I think, that would greatly improve this game. Now, another thing that they did do was the sprint indicator. It was a simple little improvement, quality of life improvement, that lights up the sprint, the stamina bar when you're sprinting. And I think that that's a great thing. I just wish that they would have made it to where if you're just in sprint, whether you're standing or moving, that lights up. Because right now, you have to sprint and then actually move before it lights up. It should light up immediately so that if you toggle sprint and you're in sprint mode, you can know that whether you're sitting in the water, standing still, eating, drinking, whatever, you can tell if you're in sprint mode. I think that would be a huge help, and just a simple little change that would be a great quality of life improvement that would make this game so much better. Another thing they could do is allow us to turn in trophies to our nest. Rather than having to go all the way to the home cave to turn trophies in, just let us turn them into the nest, because most of us, the only reason we deal with trophies is to decorate our nests so we can show off our nests. And the nests are out in the world. You can place them where you want to. You can show them off to people. Other players can come by and happen to see it. And it's a great option that they've added to this game. And it just kind of makes the home cave sort of irrelevant. And nobody's using the home cave thing to invite people to your home cave and show off your home cave. The nesting thing is so much more convenient, and that gets used, I think, for trophies way more than the home cave does. And it doesn't make sense to have to go all the way to a home cave just to put a decoration on your nest. Let us just turn it right into the nest. We can decorate it, and it would be so much simpler. They could even make the nest act as a home cave and eliminate the home caves altogether. Make the nest a safe spot where you can log in and log out of, and when you're on your nest, you're safe, just like the home cave is. And just get rid of the home caves. I think that would be awesome. I think it would be a really good improvement to this game, and just simplify things a little bit more. The next thing I think that would be a great improvement is to have the ability to test our character's abilities in like an arena. So when you start the game and you're looking at your character screen and you choose your character, instead of having to jump into the world, give us the ability to just jump into an arena where we can just test our abilities on some AI dinosaurs, and we can see what the abilities do and stuff without having to worry about dying or dealing with other players. You can just go in there, see what the moves are, practice your move sets on some kind of a bot. Because right now, you've got to hop into the world, and you might be able to do your bites and your claws or whatever in the air, but it's not really giving you a good example of what it looks like when you're in actual combat. And you might be able to find a critter or something, but it's just not the same as actually fighting against a dinosaur your size. And if you could go into an arena where there was like a AI Iggy that you could practice on, I think that would help so much. And it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to do. I mean, the community servers usually have a deathmatch, server that you can go onto, for example, and practice. And they could, Alderaan could do the same thing, I think, in the menu for us. The next thing is Waystone immunity. We should get Waystone immunity. When you're Waystoning your friends, they're stuck in a sleeping animation for a few seconds until they can get up. And there's a lot of people that love to camp the Waystones and they just come over there and hit you in one shot because you take 4 times damage when you're sleeping and you're stuck in this Waystone animation where you can't do anything anyway or defend yourself. And it's just a cheesy, dumb little thing that is an annoyance that can cause people to die, and it just sets you back, and it's such a frustrating mechanic in the game. And it seems like it would be really easy just to give them the same kind of home cave immunity you get when you come out of your home cave. Give us that when we come out of a Waystone. What's so hard about that? That would be a huge quality of life improvement. That again, another little thing I think that would make this game a lot better. Then the last thing is Venom and Poison. Venom is a mechanic that the Meg has. I think it's the only dinosaur in the game that even has that. And it is supposed to reduce the stamina regeneration of your opponent when you hit him with it as a Meg. Now, it does it so slowly, it is insignificant, and it doesn't even matter. You might as well not even have it. The way it is right now and the state that it's in right now, it basically just turns your screen green and doesn't really do much to your stamina. It's undergone a lot of changes since it first came out. When Venom was first in the game, it drastically drained stamina, and it was OP. You could just run everything out of stamina. I mean, we used to sit there on 2 megs, and even 1 meg, and just hit a T-Rex over and over and over again in its legs. And you could run off and heal really quick with the combat timer off, while he just sat there with all this venom on him, and he couldn't get his stamina back. And eventually, you just come back when you're healed up, continue, rinse, and repeat that process, and you drain his stamina completely. Then he couldn't bone break you anymore, couldn't really run after you, and you just hit and run him until he was dead. And it was an OP mechanic. And so they recognized it and they eventually changed it, but then they made it to where it would stop stamina regeneration. And I think when they did that change, it was perfect. That was a balanced way to give the Meg and give Venom a unique ability, give it people a reason to play the Meg, and it was an ability that made that dinosaur unique, and it was an actual relevant mechanic because you couldn't, regenerate your stamina back as long as you had it on there. They still thought it was OP, and everybody thought maybe they were just going to change the timer on it so that instead of getting, 5 minutes of Venom, maybe you just get 20 seconds or 30 seconds or even a minute. But no, I think they messed with that a little bit, but they eventually just made it irrelevant. Now, it just doesn't even really do much at all. You don't even notice it. So they need to fix that. I think they should just put it back to how it was when it prevented stamina regen, maybe even just for 30 seconds, so it's around the same time as the combat timer. And I think that would be fine. Maybe a little longer than the combat timer, and I think that would be a great mechanic to make the Meg's Venom relevant again. Now, they did take out fetid scent from the Meg recently, and they said it was to make way for the new update, so I think the Meg is going to be getting a TLC, which will be really nice, and I hope that comes with some type of a Venom rework. The other one is Poison. Poison is what is on the Metri, and if you bite the Metri's putrid scales, then the person or the player that bit it is now going to have this pink highlight goo stuff all over their screen. And what that does is it makes it to where you can't regenerate health. Now, the combat timer already had been doing that, so it was sort of irrelevant, but the timer does last longer than the combat timer, so it would cause your opponent to regenerate health a lot slower than you. But they've now recently changed it where now you can heal in combat a little bit, so that'll make the Metri's Poison a little more relevant, but it's still not enough. They need to change it to make it more significant, I think, and that would help with the Metri. The Metri, it has undergone a lot of changes too since the game came out. They've made it the healer of the game, but they keep changing the way the heal works, and with the putrid scales, it's just not. There's not a whole lot of reason to pick the Metri over like an Aloe or something like that. right now in the game. But I love the Metri. I used to play it a lot back on Arizona because they had it balanced really, really well, and you could heal like every minute, and it was very, very strong. And the whole poison thing was just a something cool to have, and it's like an irrelevant addition or mechanic in the game, but it really didn't do a whole lot. It was mainly the healing that made it so strong. So I think they just need to give the Metri an overall rework, and if they're going to make it heal, then do something with the putrid scales that makes that more relevant. So that is the list of my top 10 improvements needed when they do these updates and TLCs in the game. I think if they addressed those things, it would drastically improve this game for all of us, and it's cool to have these TLCs. I mean, it's making the game a little more interesting, but I just really wish they wouldn't ignore these fundamental changes and improvements that would really, really help us all, I think, enjoy this game a lot more and make the game a lot better. So let me know what you guys all think in the comments below. Is there any other improvements I missed? What do you think about these improvements? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, guys, I hope to see you out there in Gondola. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.